Hello. In the last video meant for the HR Certified Auditors Program jointly conducted by IPM Sri Lanka and TVRLS Bangalore and Ahmedabad, we talked of the fundamentals of human resource department. We said HR can be viewed under three sub-functions. The first and the most important sub-function is employee relations, or in some countries called as industrial relations. This largely deals with the unionized categories of employees or bargainable categories of employees, which are governed by a large number of local country-based kind of laws. So this is a specialized kind of a part of the human resource management or HR departments. The second sub-function of HR is actual management or human resource administration, which deals with all administrative aspects of employees, and in the olden days called as personnel management. The third most important part of the HR department or HR function is human resource development, which is futuristic, which deals with competency building, culture building, commitment building. And the HRD, human resource development, also includes building competencies of individuals as individuals, building competencies of individuals to perform the current roles well, building their capabilities or preparing them for future roles, also building superior subordinate relationships or two-person relationships where every person enjoys working with his or her boss and every senior enjoys working with his or her juniors. The dyadic relationships, development of the dyadic relationships so that the dyads are strong and are happy and are productive is a very important focal point of HRD. The HRD also deals with the team building, building teams and inter-team collaboration and developing the entire organization as a whole. So human resource development has multifaceted objectives. Human resource department has multiple roles, which includes employee relations, human resource administration, and human resource development. These are the basics that we talked of. Our HR audit normally focuses on evaluating systematically whether the HR function you have in your organization is doing all these three sub-functions well or not. However, since the employee relations function is subject to local laws and is a specialized subject, in our HR audit, we normally do not focus it and we leave it for every country or every HR department of an organization to manage their own employee relations audit. So normally we do not cover employee relations or industrial relations or labor law related kind of an audit in the Certified HR Auditors Program. This is because these are fairly stable, these are known, these are documented, and these keep changing from time to time in each country. When it comes to personnel administration or HR administration, nowadays HR information system have also become globalized, standardized, and there are ways in which you can look at it. We to some extent in our HR audit look at whether the way you are managing your human resources or administering your human resources, you're being sensitive to the HRD parts of it or not. So some parts of this we make a kind of an audit, particularly the information part of it, HR analytics part of it, and so on. The HR audit we are working on with IPM and TVRLS collaboration focuses largely on normally not very tangible human resource development parts, which are very important for building the future of an organization. Now here we look at various HR systems and we audit whether the HR systems you have are appropriate for your organization, are they relevant for your organization at this point of time, have they been developed to suit your requirements? Were you using or changing them or managing them by using what we traditionally think as a participative kind of method, which ensures a lot of motivation of employees and so on, and things like that? So in the first part of HR audit, we focus on HR systems, whatever systems that you have, whether these systems are mature enough, they have been structured well, they have been evolved well, and they are having a right kind of an impact. The HR systems normally we talk of include, to begin with, your manpower planning and recruitment system. I think this is the starting point of any good HRD system. Manpower planning and recruitment can be done very scientifically, and there have been a lot of interesting developments across the world. Competency-based interviewing has come into existence, because if you recruit right kind of people, you can make sure they stay longer, they contribute best, and they add to the value of the company. So one of the subsystems, therefore, we look at in HR is manpower planning and recruitment. We also look at, once you have recruited a person, whether you induct the person well or not. So onboarding, induction, and if by chance you are recruiting people at lateral level, ensuring that they are integrated well with the values and the culture of the organization, etc., which is called as integration and assimilation of the values and culture, or as a part of the onboarding program. We also look at this as a subsystem: induction, integration, and assimilation as a subsystem of human resource development. We evaluate whether you have the right kind of practices in this. The third thing that we look at is, once a person joins, inducted well, how well does the person perform the roles that are assigned to him. So performance management, what kind of a system that you have? Is performance management motivating employees of an organization to be clear about their job, to plan their time and talent well, to apply themselves well? Is it measuring properly? Is the measurement system, is it motivating people or demotivating people, and so on? We also look at reward systems as a subsystem of human resource development. What kind of a performance reward you have? Then when there are competency gaps, how do you identify the competency gaps, or what is traditionally called as training and development needs, and what is the process that you follow to sponsor people for training and to ensure once they have gone for training and return from training, they apply these mechanisms well, and so on. So you have training and development audit. We also measure, we also audit a potential appraisal system. Not all good performers may measure up to be good future leaders in when higher responsibilities are given. So we have a system called potential appraisal and career assessment, career planning and career development. So that is a system, career planning and development as a system, or sometimes it's called as succession planning, succession development as a system, and so on. So you also can have a system on employee engagement, you can have a system on attrition management, you can pick up any issue if you are a large organization that you are facing and create into a system. So human resource development has various systems to manage and develop human resources. So our HR audit deals with HR systems audit. Our long years of experience have shown that while systems may be audited, systems are very important to be audited in terms of what kind of contributions they are making and so on. HR systems audit themselves may not give you the total picture of an organization. After all, what is the purpose of HR systems? HR systems should result in good HR process. You may have an excellent performance appraisal or performance management system, but it may have created certain inconveniences, certain uncomfortableness, certain motivational issues in your kind of a corporation. So we also look at HR processes or various systems resulting in the right kind of HR processes. HR processes may include role clarity. Is it giving role clarity? a kind of a planning orientation on the part of people? Are people able to plan well? Are people able to identify developmental needs? Are people able to, or the organizations able to manage these developmental needs? Is there certain amount of openness created, collaboration created, proactivity created, receptivity to feedback created, creativity created in the organization? In other words, our HR process result in the right kind of climate, a right kind of HR process and culture. So while we examine HR systems, we also examine the result of these HR systems in terms of HR processes and also HR outcomes. When HR processes are right, you have more competent employees, more committed employees, more motivated employees, and less of attrition and things like that. So we measure, in audit, we not only audit whether systems are mature, we also audit have they resulted in the right process, right kind of a climate, and have they made the right kind of HR impact in terms of creating the intellectual capital that is required. We also start looking at the end of it, the impact of all this HR in terms of organizational outcomes. Because after all HR should lead to organizational outcomes. The organizational outcomes, of course, most important outcome is productivity and profitability of an organization, the top line and bottom line of an organization. But you can never say the top line and bottom line are only made by people. While people are important factors, sometimes the environment matters, government policies matter, the global situation matters, competition matters. So there are many variables that influence the ultimate productivity of a corporation, including, I think, whether they have made the right kind of strategies and so on. So we will not be able to, with 100% definitiveness, say that the profitability of a company or productivity of a company can be directly linked to human resources development. However, we can say if you have had the right kind of human resource development practices, the company certainly would have made intellectual capital, which becomes a part of the shareholder value. Now, intellectual capital is a very interesting kind of a concept that we have been able to highlight in the recent past. Normally, when you look at the market value of a company, it consists of two things. One is the tangible assets you have, and number two is the intangible assets you have. Different companies have different proportions of intangible assets. At one point of time, Bill Gates has said that only 3% of their balance sheet accounts for the tangible assets from the market value of the company and so on. I think in IT and financial companies, a large part is intellectual capital, which includes their brand value and other kind of things. So in terms of human resource development, we expect that if you have good HR systems, it should result in good HR process, and it therefore should result in good HR outcomes, including less attrition, more happiness, more employee engagement and things like that, and which in turn should lead to an organizational productivity measured in terms of maybe some cost reduction attributable to this, maybe the brand image that is created, maybe the enhanced shareholder value and things of that kind. So in HR audit, we audit therefore HR systems, HR climate, HR process, and in addition to all these, the impact of these on HR. And very interestingly, a dimension which most of the HR audits do not take care of, but we take care of, is the competencies of HR department. How well is the HR department equipped to manage the HR function? This is what we measure. And we also measure whether the line managers are learning oriented, and employee, so who are unionized categories, are they learning, and are they getting themselves prepared to contribute their best? And how are the top management styles? Are the top management styles conducive to HR values and so on? So these are all the kind of things that we measure. The linkages between these systems are described in the book HRD Missionary in one of the chapters, HRD systems and HRD outcomes and organizational outcomes and their linkages and so on. When you read this book, you will find it very easy to understand, and I'm sure you will get the best out of this. All the best from TVRLS. Enjoy yourself.